let's do OKC why they won. Did you feel like they went through playoff puberty in this game in some ways?
It felt like that a little bit.
They were tight in the first quarter, like legit. I felt like there was two guys that showed up for that first quarter, SGA and Caruso, and everybody else, the sphincters were like this.
I'm glad you said that because it's exactly what I saw. And the Jalen Williams Game 6 performance was so disappointing because then you're thinking, okay, what, like, I don't even know what to expect from this guy. Somebody that was supposed to have his off playoff games, maybe we're a little unfair. It's like, okay, you're a young guy. You weren't great against Dallas. You couldn't be counted on as that second scorer to SGA. Like, you need that second guy to create on the ball when everything's a mess. And if you don't have it, you're so limited as a playoff team. And I think there was something to be desired there based on, you can look at the final box scores of the Dallas series and be like, oh, it wasn't all that bad. It's just funny. I think that stuff becomes the most misleading stuff. Like, there's some efficiency stuff that I'll look at with a player in a series and go, there's no way he was this. Like, this is a bad reflection. These metrics are too rewarding to however he played, because just in the moment you needed more from him. So he has that abominable Game 6 at Denver. And, look, I think it's fair to say, even for a guy like Jalen Williams, like at Denver, going up against the best player in the world, you get the Strother game out of nowhere. I mean, he was wide open, one, because of Jokic, and two, because it felt like OKC, it's like, hey, do you want to guard this guy? I was like, no, we don't want to guard him at all. So when
the Nuggets had four guys like that OKC was like, go ahead.
There was a couple 5-man stretches that Adelman, like, even he had to be looking at the scorer's table going, I can't believe I have to do this right now. But in that first quarter, I'm like, what's up with Hartenstein? Like, after he missed those two floaters in the baseline earlier in the series, it's like, does he not want to shoot that anymore? Jalen Williams getting a couple open looks. And there were so many open looks that were great looks in Game 6. And it looked like he was going to be tight again. And I'm thinking, this can't possibly, like, he's not going to be this bad Game 6 and Game 7, is he? I mean, he had a 3. Denver's playing so much zone. They're collapsing the top for SGA. So SGA is getting cut off. It's kind of working. And there's a kick out to the right side a little bit later in the game where Jalen Williams just turns it down. And I'm thinking, like, you don't even want to take, like, you have to take this shot. But what I loved about Game 6 is that against that Denver zone, if you could find any way to collapse, there were all sorts of points waiting for you on guys just cutting on the baseline and in the dunker spot. You saw more of that with the Chet. They had one play where Chet passed to Caruso and he made a layup. Caruso beat his man, and Dort was coming from the other side. Both baseline cutters were wide open. So, there was a lot of stuff that I saw in 6 that I thought, if they can just go, hey, when they zone us, because they're going to like crazy.
Well, especially with Gordon hurt, you knew the zone was going to be even bigger.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, there's a lot of stuff, but the fact that Jalen Williams stepped up and played the way he did today, and I think there was like one drive where you could tell, okay, he's now feeling it a little bit. You could see his confidence was at a completely different place.
He started to attack. He was 42-41. I'm not a live bettor, and I'm also, gambling's not legal in California, but it felt like the perfect live bet spot because Gordon had given them a lot in the first quarter. Brown had made some shots. OKC missed everything from 3. I think they were like 1 for 10 at some point. And you could just feel the game. You could feel it starting to shift potentially. And
they hadn't taken any free throws when it was like
right. And Denver had like 10 free throws, something like that. But that Caruso-Wallace combo, which I think is going to be a real problem for Minnesota too. Like even thinking, not to jump ahead to the next series, but you think like Connolly's like the 1 point guard. Then they'll bring Edwards. Edwards will have the ball sometimes. Then it'll get weird with like Alexander Walker and DiVincenzo. And that's when these OKC guys feast. Like they're over the midcourt line and they just come in waves where it's like, it's Caruso and Wallace. Now Dort's in too. Oh, wait, here's Jalen Williams. And they're just trying to make you uncomfortable over and over and over again. I think it's going to be a problem for Minnesota, but it became a problem for Denver. And it was one of the worst Russ. Russ wasn't just bad. He had like 3 or 4 passes where you're just going, what is that? This is Game 7. How is that the pass you just threw? And then Strother and Watson, it was no surprise, turned into pumpkins. And Murray was not really playoff Jamal. And then Porter was playing with one arm and Gordon was playing with one leg. And then Caruso became the star of the game. And I guess Caruso guarding Jokic, I feel like is a slight hit for the Jokic legacy that Caruso was able to do that. But to defend Jokic, which I have to because I love Jokic, I really did feel like they were getting away with a lot with how they were pounding him physically, which they should have because they were getting away with it all series. But I'm not really sure what Denver's supposed to do when they're defending him like that. I don't know what the move is. Like if you're putting smaller guys, they're planning, they're pushing, they're shoving. If he's turning around and going into them, he's just going to knock them over. It's an offensive foul, right? He's not fast enough to go by him. You don't have any spacing because nobody can shoot. So I'm not sure. They finally like moved him to the top of the key, like 25 feet back to try to give him more space. By that time, it was too late. I'm not really sure what the move is, but I wonder if OKC might have stumbled onto a strategy with him. Now, there's not many Carusos in the league, but like, let's say it had been alternate universe Celtics Denver finals. Could Drew Holiday have guarded him like that? Like, do other teams have guys that could do that, or is Caruso just that special?
I don't know how it would look for 7 games.
Right. I guess for one game you could do it. Yeah.
Right. Caruso might end up shooting like 10% from 3 because he's so exhausted the entire time. Look, Jokic could have been better today. Certainly. He
wasn't a great Jokic game.
No. Some of the passing, or it's just like throwing it back to him and he's turning the ball over because it's getting knocked out of his hands. Like, a couple were definitely on him. He had the one late where he tried to go right at Caruso at the top and he just got stripped. There's another one from Murray where he's throwing him a buddy pass and all Wallace has to do is just see it coming in. So I think there was a bunch of different things. But I think overall, if you're looking at Jokic, just saying that he was the problem. I mean, the number of times that you're watching defenders, and I think over the course of a series, you get more and more comfortable with it, being like, all right, well, if Westbrook hits a couple corner threes, we're okay with it. Like, as long as we try to stay in front of Murray at the top and then collapse on Jokic. Because you could sit there and say, well, if
Caruso, Game 6, same thing.
Yeah, they just left him. They don't care. I mean, there was at one point, the game was like basically over at this point, but I looked at it to see what Strother, Watson, and Westbrook were, and they were 1 of 4, 0 of 6, and 2 of 7. So if you're not getting anything out of any of those guys, then good luck. And then I guess
nothing out of Porter too, like as you're expecting, like best case scenario, like a 15-7 something from him, but you weren't getting that.
Nothing. And at least you have to defend him as if he's going to shoot, but like it was just a bunch of bricks from him. Maybe you say, hey, Jokic needs to get deeper on the catch and then have crew. But then if you're doing that, there's just so much more traffic in there defensively that I think they want Jokic to have more space to get it outside of the elbow, to be able to turn and shoot, to turn and drive.
But also the further he goes away, now I don't have his rebounding and I got Gordon on one leg. And that OKC started killing them on the boards too, which was another thing. But the turnovers, they had, I think, 23 turnovers halfway through the fourth quarter, which if you have over 20 just in a normal NBA game, that's a lot. That's like, whoa, didn't take care of the ball today. So the ball was
you're going to lose.
Around. Yeah. OKC had, at halftime, they're up 14 because they have this crazy run the last 3 minutes. They're 5 for 20 from 3, and they're up 14, and they have 8 steals. And it's like, that's it. There's no road back for Denver. What you need, like Christian Brown to have like 35 points. So you need some complete, or you need Russ to flip it on. And by the way, how mad do you think the Clippers were watching this series with Russ? I think Russ was like minus 86 in the series. Games 5, Game 6, Game 7, he was like just universally atrocious. And you think like he was one of the guys that swung that Clippers series and then he's another one who turned into a pumpkin. But if I'm the Clippers, I'm still looking back at that round 1 being like, how did we not get past this team? Like how? What happened? But to Denver's credit, they were able to play 14 playoff games somehow. Just to get OKC to 7, I thought was remarkable. Because, I don't know. I just don't think the teams were close from a talent standpoint.
I don't know who can beat an entire team when every single defender is just like all they really care about is you. And Murray's elimination game track record is terrific. He's got 2 40-point games. He's got the 50-point game in there. Right. So you wondered, you're going to get another Murray moment out of this. The fact that he played as well as he did with the illness in Game 6. But, just over the course of a series when you're going, okay, when Jokic does this, and now it's like 3, 4, 5, in this case, 7 games in a row. It's like when he does this, when he catches here, we're doing this. And then everybody's just in tune. And when you wait around on OKC and everybody starts flying around and the help is so good and they're so smart and all this stuff starts happening, I'm with you. I can't believe that Denver played 14 playoff games. I think that's well said.
The other thing with OKC is they have different looks, like almost like a football team, where they can be like, we're just going to rush you conventionally. Now we're bringing in 6 defensive backs. Oh, now we're blitzing from this side. And you just kind of never know what to expect. So I'm sure mentally, just trying, for Jokic, he was like a supercomputer trying to basically diagnose the problems that he can solve. And just the lineups keep changing over and over again. They were bringing, it was almost like they were like a hockey team, bringing dudes in and out the second quarter. I think OKC is going to win the title, and I'd be really surprised if they didn't. But the seeds were planted for how it wouldn't happen, where you need a team that would just be able to go toe-to-toe with them and make them nervous like they were at parts of Game 6, like they were in that first quarter today, and you leverage their youth against them, I guess would be the recipe. But I just don't see anybody beating them. I think I said this to you last week. I think what they do on defense is the best thing anyone's doing right now. And I don't, could there be, I'm trying to think of like the Knicks, like those 5 guys, the way they played in the second half of Game 4, the way they played for all of Game 6, 5 guys that have not, I don't think have gotten a ton of reps together as a healthy fivesome. Maybe there's a ceiling there that maybe Game 6 is a little more representative of that. Maybe Indiana, their depth and, their style of play and just their pace and how comfortable they are all playing with each other. Maybe that could be something. And maybe Minnesota with the Ant piece and then the Randall, just really punishing anybody who's smaller than him. Maybe there's some level there, but I can't see anyone touching OKC. Can you?
No, you're right. Like when you think about football teams, you go, which is the best unit? OKC's defensive unit, and the numbers would back it up. And I think the other part of it is the thing that you loved about them all regular season is this team can go 1 big, they can go 2 bigs, and both bigs actually complement each other. And they don't. Or
now 0 bigs. We found out today they don't need a big. Just Alex Caruso as a 6'4" center.
There's times where against Memphis it didn't really matter, but then I remember I think it was even in Game 1 with Dagnall where I'm thinking like he's coaching this game like he's down 20. Like is he experimenting in Game 1? For the rest of this series. And then they have that small lineup today just to kind of pour on their adaptability. And so, whenever you look at the playoffs, you're like, hey, they're deep. They'll do all this stuff. It's like, yeah, you really only want to play 7 guys and be who you are. That's completely like removing the thing that I've liked the most about them all season long is on paper and based on watching them play all season long. Their depth, or sometimes we can overrate the depth part of it a little bit. Like I was still surprised in the Pacers. I'm like, they're in these playoff games and they're playing 10 guys in the first quarter. Like that's unheard of. And it's working for them. Maybe it's because of their style. And again, we'll see what happens here with the Knicks. But there's part of me, because I thought OKC was so good, had they lost this game, it's like, so do I have to just completely eliminate teams that have all this malleability with their roster, because that is their greatest strength. And I think we saw that in this series.
Well, it's like we say every spring when we're doing these, how many guys do you actually have? Right. I think the Knicks in that last series, they have 7 guys now. Now that Robinson can give them 15 minutes a game, and McBride has been, I think, a really good bench player all season. They have 7, which I think you can win the title with 7 guys. Indiana has 10. We'll see if they get into a really hard series, how many people that number actually is. But it probably is 8, and then maybe Obi Toppin, maybe that's 9. But you could work there. Minnesota is a team. I'm really interested to see what that number ends up being. Because you have Nas and Gobert, you have Randall, you have Ant. So there's 4. DiVincenzo. Conley, as the playoffs go along with his age, we'll see. That's 6. Maybe Alexander Walker.
Yeah, well, he's definitely.
So I'm at 7, and that's probably it. OKC, they might have 9 or 10. I mean, I think Wallace. I've loved him all year. I always put him in my Ringer 100 voting, even though I think he plays like 19 minutes a game. But I just think they're bringing dudes out. Isaiah Joe's not even playing for them. I really like Isaiah Joe. Wiggins, I really like. I almost feel like Wiggins is probably like, fuck, I could probably play 30 minutes for 20 teams in the league. So I guess that's what we're going to find out with Minnesota, because they're going to need everybody, and they're going to be coming at Connolly. They're going to be pressuring Ant. And I don't think it's a great matchup for them. What do you think the line is, just out of curiosity?
For game one?
Okay, no, OKC Minnesota as a series.
Minus 175 OKC?
I'm going to say higher. I'm going to say minus 300. And the answer is, minus 375.
Jesus. Well,
I think Minnesota has a better chance than that, right?
Yeah, that seems
with the way Randall's playing.
The game one line is huge. I mean, I already looked at it because I was like, is there a game one scenario there where you go Minnesota, easy path so far, grind for OKC, having to play in Denver that whole time? And the fact that the Western Conference has the quicker turnaround than the Eastern Conference on this one is brutal. But they had to do that in case there was going to be a game 7. So it's minus 7.5 for game one. I mean, to me, that screams Minnesota plus the 7.5, feeling like you're hoping to get OKC a little hungover from this series.
If I'm betting against OKC, I'm just betting the money line in a game, because it feels like they cover those bigger spreads in their defense. If they're up 10, if they're up 12, all of a sudden it's 20 before you blink. But I'd rather just go right against them. This episode is brought to you by Michelob Ultra. We all have our routines during the playoffs. I'm the same man who once wore the same t-shirt every single day during the 2003 baseball playoffs. I'm the same person who will tell my wife to come into the room when I need a team to win because she's good luck during the NBA playoffs. These are things that happen. Well, Michelob Ultra are a great addition to any game time routine. It is a superior light beer. It's really great. And they're getting fans closer to the game with exclusive prizes, including courtside seats to see your favorite team play, signed memorabilia, lots more. Enter for your chance to win at MichelobUltra.com/courtside. Michelob Ultra Superior Access Courtside 2024 to 2025 sweepstakes. No purchase necessary. Open to U.S. residents 21 or older. Ends on July 1st, 2025. Multiple entry periods. Visit MichelobUltra.com/superior access/courtside for free entry, entry deadlines, and official rules. Message and data rates may apply. Void where prohibited. You're listening and watching the Bill Simmons podcast presented by FanDuel, our friends, America's #1 sportsbook, and they've made it easier than ever to get in on the action during an NBA playoff game, even after tip-off. Just look for the live SGP tab on the FanDuel Sportsbook app and build your own bet slip, then sit back, relax, track the outcome of your parlay right in the app. And if you don't already have it, download the FanDuel app today to make every moment more. The Ringer is committed to responsible gaming. Please visit rg-help.com to learn more about the resources and helplines available and listen to the episode for additional details. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com.